What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today Apple released iOS and iPadOS 14.3. So of course in this video, we're going to be covering everything new in this update along with the performance, the battery life, the bug fixes, and of course whether or not you should update. Now in addition to iOS and iPadOS 14.3, we also got watchOS 7.2, macOS 11.1, and tvOS 14.3. But of course this video is all about iOS and iPadOS 14.3. So let's go ahead and take a look first off at the size of this update. So if you came from iOS 14.2 or 14.2.1, the update size will be pretty small. So almost 600 megabytes here on my iPhone 12 Pro. That size of course will vary depending on your device and the firmware you're coming from, but it should be under 1 gigabyte. And then if we head over to our settings to check out the build number, settings general about 14.3, you can see the build number on this update is 18C66. So it's the same build number of course as the second RC version. So if you were on the public or developer beta program, you will not see this update since you've already been running it for a little while now. And if we go ahead down and check out the modem firmware, we do also have a new modem firmware here. So it's 1.31.03-5. So if you were running into cell connectivity issues, those could be resolved in this update due to that modem firmware update. So now what's actually new in iOS 14.3? And the first thing we need to talk about is Apple's new Fitness Plus program, which just launched today. So if you have an Apple Watch, you will see the fitness app, of course, on your home screen. If you tap on that, you'll notice after updating, you have a brand new tab called Fitness Plus. If you tap on that, you will see this screen right here where it runs down everything you need to know about Apple Fitness Plus. You can even see, watch some of these workouts right here. So if you tap on this, you can read about the workout right here. Of course, Apple Fitness Plus does also integrate with Apple Music. So you're going to be able to save these playlists to your Apple Music account if you want to. You have related workouts down here. And of course, if you want to preview it, you can just simply tap on that and you can see this is a little preview of that workout to see, if you want to do it. So this is $10 a month. And you do get access to hundreds, of workouts from some of the world's top trainers. And you do also get new workouts every week. So this seems like a very promising service. And I think Apple's going to do pretty well with it. It's not quite like, Peloton workouts. I know some people have been comparing it to that, but it's not quite like Peloton. It's not as interactive, but you do have, real trainers talking to you and everything like that. And it looks really cool. And of course, the integration with Apple Music is huge. The fact that you can save the playlist and things like that is really, really cool. And you have this tab down here where you can see the popular courses and you can kind of just go through here. You can go to cycling, HIIT, strength, yoga, things like that. So it's extremely diverse with the amount of workouts you can do. I would highly recommend checking it out. Of course, you can go to these categories right here if you want to as well, if you wanted to quickly get to one of those. So if you're into working out, and especially if you're in a state where you're not able to go to the gym, this is definitely something I would at least try out for 3 months and see if you like it. I think it's really cool. And of course, you do need an Apple Watch with it. It does also work with the Apple TV. So if you just bring your Apple Watch close to an Apple TV, you will actually be able to see the Fitness Plus on the screen and things like that and work out through, with seeing the workouts on your TV. So extremely cool service. I'm pretty excited for this. I will be trying it and I will give you guys a more long-term review after I've been using it for a while as well. We also get full support for the AirPods Max. So these are Apple's new over-ear headphones, which I will be covering here on the channel very soon. We have full support for that in iOS 14.3. Also, if we go over and you can see I have a custom app icon here on my home screen. Well, now with 14.3, custom app icons that you make via shortcuts do not redirect into the shortcuts application first. They actually open up right into the application that you created the shortcut for. So instead of, clicking on the custom app icon right here, in previous versions, it would go into the shortcuts application and then it would redirect you to the application. But now it bypasses that and it doesn't actually take you into the shortcuts application first. And it makes it just a more seamless process. Now, also new in this update, iOS will know when you wake up before your alarm goes off and give you this prompt right here. We'll give you this alert right here that says, turn off alarm. It looks like you're awake. Would you like to turn off your alarm in sleep mode? Then you have the option to either leave it on or turn it off. So this is actually a really helpful pop-up because I tend to wake up a lot before my alarm actually goes off. And I don't always remember to turn the alarm off. So it will go off, like 20, 30 minutes later after I'm already up. But now with this pop-up, I can, turn it off with this pop-up and not have to worry about going in there and turning it off manually every single time. So that is new here in 14.3, and I really like that addition there. Now, also new in this update, we get the home section cleaned up in the control center. So you can see here, I have 14.2.1 on the left, 14.3 on the right, I have the same HomeKit devices on all, but you can see here on previous versions, we would have these blank squares right here, which would look really tacky and just did not look clean at all. But now it's cleaned up a lot and everything looks so much more organized here on 14.3. And actually, if you tap on home favorites right there, you can see you have access to all of the HomePods or all of your HomeKit devices. So you don't necessarily need all of the squares there like you had on previous versions of iOS. So I like that new change. iOS 14.3 also brings the new ProRAW format for the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. So you can see there, once you enable this inside the camera settings, you get this little toggle up here where you can turn on or off the RAW format just like so. And when you take a picture, everything is the same. It doesn't take, any longer to take the picture or anything like that. But you will see that when you go onto the photo, this is a regular photo right here, but if you go over to the RAW, you can see it does have the little RAW label right there as well. And also if you go into your photos and go to albums, you will see that you do have a RAW album right there where you can see all of the pictures you've taken RAW. And when you take a picture RAW, it's going to allow you to really edit and manipulate the photos much more than you would a regular JPEG photo. So if you're familiar with like DSLR cameras or mirrorless cameras and post editing for photography, you would know all about shooting RAW. But if you don't, basically it's a way to retain a lot of the information, a lot of the detail and the dynamic range when you go to edit in post. So when you go to edit right here, you can see you have all these right here. So you don't get any new toggles down here. You just will notice that they have a much better impact and everything will look more sharp than it has in previous versions. When you just shoot a regular JPEG photo, it looks a lot better now when you edit these, and you can really manipulate the photo a lot more than you could previously. So this is a great addition for the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max. I would highly recommend using RAW format when you want to shoot something very cinematic, something very nice, like maybe a bridge and there's like, fog over it or something like that. Something really cool. You should definitely go ahead and enable the RAW format. And if you go into your settings right here and then go down to camera, you will see if we go to the formats right here, and then you'll see right here you have photo capture, Apple Pro RAW, and you can actually read what Apple says there. They say show camera control for Pro RAW. Pro RAW is a 12-bit file that uses the linear DNG format to retain more information and dynamic range in the file, providing additional flexibility when editing exposure and white balance. Each file is approximately 25 megabytes. So of course the file size will be larger when you shoot RAW. That is expected because you have a lot more detail in those photos. But yeah, that is definitely something you want to make sure you enable if you have a 12 Pro or 12 Pro Max. At least just enable it, and then of course you can have the option if you want to turn it on or off straight from the camera application, which is nice. Now going back to the camera settings, we actually have a couple of other new features here in 14.3 as well. So you can see there we have mirror front camera. So this is a feature, this is a toggle that was here in previous iOS versions, but for some reason it was removed recently, and it has just been added back here in 14.3. So that of course will mirror the front facing camera. Like when you take a selfie with a front facing camera, it will now mirror it, which is, something that a lot of people like to do. So that's there. And then also if we go to record video, you will notice that we have this new toggle here, this new section for show PAL formats. And you can see it says PAL is a television video format used in many countries in Europe, Africa, Asia, and South America. So if you're not in one of those countries, of course you won't want to enable this because all this does is simply add 25 FPS right there in addition to the 30 and 60 FPS. So that is not going to be relevant for anybody who doesn't live in those countries, but it's nice that those have been added now as a video format. We also have some changes inside of the TV application. So if we go over to the search tab over here, you will notice that there's a pretty distinct difference right away between 14.2 and 14.3. So you can see first off, we have the new TV Plus section right there. So if we go and tap on TV Plus, you can see it. We can see all the TV Plus movies and shows and things like that right there. That was not here on previous versions of iOS. And then also you could see that we have all of these different genres that we could choose from, whereas you could not do that before. So if we wanted to see like a horror film, if we wanted to watch a comedy, we could just simply tap on that and see everything in that genre and choose what we want to watch, which is really nice. Also, when you search for something, you can see that it is much improved in 14.3. So not only do we have the autocomplete, so we get kind of suggestions there for the search, but we also have top results right here. So definitely much better search, and of course much better, categorizing of everything because we can see the genres here in the TV application in 14.3. We also have some changes inside of the home application. So if we go into home right here and then go to home settings and then scroll down to software update, you can see that we have a difference here right away. So you can see first off, we have a little glyph there next to software update. And then we also have some text under that, which we didn't have any text before. And it basically tells us about HomePod updating and things like that. And then when we go into software update, we now have this right here. So it says all accessories are up to date. We never had that little pop-up right there before. And then we also get the option to update all. So we can update all HomeKit devices at one time instead of individually like we had to do previously on previous versions of iOS. So the whole update section just looks better here in 14.3. We also have an update for app clips. So app clips have been a thing since iOS 14 was first announced. Apple talked about it on stage and everything like that, but they've been slowly rolling out and they still aren't fully there yet. But 14.3 actually adds the ability to scan a QR code that is a app clip. So before, you would just have to basically go to a site and that's how you would install the application or get the application running on your device. But now in 14.3, you can simply take the camera and just go ahead and scan over the QR code there, the proprietary code that Apple has provided for an app clip, and you can see it will recognize it. So right now it says no usable data found, but you could see that it was detected to be an app clip code. So you could not do that on previous versions of iOS. And of course, this will start to be used a lot more by app developers in the future. It's kind of a slow rollout, like I said, but we can expect that to be, better in the future. But that is one thing added here in 14.3 when it comes to app clips. We also get a small change inside of the weather application. So if we go ahead and scroll down a little bit to the air quality right here, you'll notice that it does update more frequently. And then also right under where it says the air quality, number right there, it shows more data from Breezometer. So we get a little bit more information now. So if we go ahead and tap on that, you can see that we get more information about the air quality in our specific location. So you can see it shows the air quality right there. You can even see a live map. And then we have pollen right here. So we can see just a lot more information in general about the air quality, currently. So you could not do any of that in previous versions of iOS. It would basically just show you the air quality and you couldn't tap on anything or, get any more information about that air quality. If we go into our settings and then go down to Safari and then to search engine, you can see that we have a new default search engine called Ecosia. So if you don't know what this is essentially a search engine that will plant trees every time you do a search. So I have this set as my default just because I think that's cool and it's great for the environment, great for the world. So I think that's cool, and that has been added here in 14.3 to be used as the default search engine. We also have some new things added inside of the health application. So if we go to browse over here and then search for pregnancy, you can see that we now have pregnancy data inside of the health application. Of course, you can track it, or you can graph it by the week, month, or year, and you can read more about it right here. So that is new in 14.3. And then we also get cardio fitness and cardio fitness notification data right here. And you get this new card right here where you can learn more about cardio fitness. This is great if you have an Apple Watch. You could track all that information now inside of the health app in 14.3. We also have this really cool animated cover art for select playlists that are curated by Apple. So you can see it looks really, really cool there. That is new here in 14.3. And if you do not see anything moving, you will have to enable this in settings. So if you go to your settings and then to music and then to animated cover art right here, make sure that is turned on. And then you will start seeing these animated cover arts there for these playlists, which looks really, really cool. And I'm assuming in the future, there's going to be animated album covers and things like that. So this could be really cool inside of Apple Music. Now, as far as PS5 and Xbox Series X controller support in 14.3, unfortunately, neither controller is fully supported with 14.3 on either iOS or iPad OS. So the Xbox controller will actually connect, but you can't actually play any games with the controller, which is kind of weird. And then the PS5 controller is not even discoverable by the iPhone or the iPad, which is strange. But I would expect support for both controllers to come most likely early 2021. We also do not get 5G for dual SIM yet. So if you're using an eSIM and also a regular SIM card, you still can only use 5G on one of those SIM cards. You cannot use it simultaneously on both SIMs, at least not yet. But again, I would expect that as well to be available sometime early next year. Now, Apple has also addressed a lot of bugs with iOS 14.3. So a lot of the bugs that we were facing on 14.2 and 14.2.1 have been solved in 14.3. However, a good amount of bugs also, probably some of the most annoying bugs, have not been fixed in 14.3. And I'll talk about that here in a moment, but let's first talk about what has been fixed in 14.3. So the first thing is some MMS messages may not be received. So Apple has addressed that and fixed that in this update. So if you were not receiving MMS messages, that will be resolved. You will start receiving all MMS messages. And I've seen a lot of people complain about that. It even happened to me one time. So thankfully that's been fixed in this update. Also, Spotlight search. This was something I faced, and I talked about this in a previous video on 14.3 when it was in the beta stages. Spotlight search, the results when you would search for something. So say I wanted to open up Instagram, I would go and click on this. I would go to click on it after searching it, and I would just simply tap and it would never open. It would just sit there and, just freeze pretty much. It wouldn't freeze, but I wouldn't be able to click on the application and open it. I would either have to press like go right here. Sometimes this will say go. If you go ahead and do like that, I would have to click on go to open up the application, or I would just have to find it or go to the app library or something like that. I was never able to click on the application from Spotlight Search, and it was extremely annoying. Even a reboot didn't fix it, but thankfully that has been fixed here in the final version of 14.3. Now we also see a fix for the message notification bug. So finally, the text message notification bug has been addressed, and Apple actually put it in the release notes right here. So you can see it says some messages notifications may not be received. So finally, 14.3 solves one of the most long-standing bugs that I've seen in iOS. Now, time will tell if this is fully fixed. I, of course, will be bringing you guys updates to let you know if I miss any more notifications, but this was huge. This was extremely annoying, where you would just simply not get a notification when you got a text message. You wouldn't get a sound, you wouldn't get a banner, you wouldn't get anything. So Apple has addressed that, and that was actually added after the RC2 build. So I guess, in the RC2 release notes, they did not mention this bug. It was only mentioned in the final release notes. So I'm guessing that Apple released an RC2 to include a bug fix for the messages notifications. Also, some videos would not appear correctly when shared from the Photos application. So if you shared a photo, and this actually happened to me when I transferred a photo from my Mac to my iPhone, the video actually would not appear correctly. It would just be all black. I would hear the audio, but the video would be all black. So I'm assuming that's what this bug is, referring to, and that has thankfully been fixed in this update. Also, contact groups failed to display members when composing a message. So if you had a group of contacts, it would not display the members properly. That's been fixed here in this update as well. There was also a bug where app folders would just simply not open. So for whatever reason, when you go ahead and tap on a folder right here, it would just simply not open. I never faced that bug, but that has been addressed in this update. Also, Bluetooth would sometimes not be available inside of settings. So it would be completely grayed out right here, and you would not be able to go into the Bluetooth settings. That has been fixed in 14.3. I did see a couple of people mention that on 14.2 and 14.2.1. So thankfully that's been fixed. And then also, if you have the MagSafe Duo charger, that could wirelessly charge your iPhone at less than the maximum power. So you would not get the full power when using the MagSafe Duo on 14.2 and 14.2.1, but that has been fixed via software here in 14.3. And then Apple also mentions a few miscellaneous bug fixes. However, Apple has still not addressed a few extremely annoying and extremely popular bugs. The first one is the green tint bug affecting some iPhone 12 users. So some people reported seeing like a greenish, or some even had like a yellowish tint on the screen of their iPhone 12s. And unfortunately, that has not been addressed here in 14.3. But I would expect that in a future software update. A lot of people still also complain about a laggy keyboard, especially when you first open up the Messages application. So if you're going to respond to a text message really quickly, if you open up Messages and then start typing, you will notice a slight delay when typing. So you'll start typing, nothing will come up for a couple of seconds, and then you'll start seeing the text. So there's just a little bit of lag there with the keyboard, especially in the Messages application, and that has still not been solved for some users. It has been solved for me. It doesn't do that to me anymore, but some people are still facing that issue in 14.3. And then another annoying bug in 14.3 that has still not been addressed is inconsistent notification sounds. So sometimes when I get a notification, the sound will be really low. Sometimes it'll be like max volume, like really loud. And it seems like the notification sounds are just inconsistent in 14.2, 14.2.1, and even still here in 14.3, I will notice how alerts and notifications in general will just have inconsistent sound, like the volume will be inconsistent on those alerts. So yes, we have a lot of bug fixes in 14.3, and I'm thankful for those, but we do still have some lingering bugs that have been existing for a little while now that are still not addressed here in 14.3. Now moving on to the performance of iOS 14.3, performance has been excellent. I mean, I've noticed a difference over 14.2 and 14.2.1 here on this update. It is noticeably faster, noticeably just more consistent. I don't notice stutter at all on this update. No app crashes, no random resprings, nothing like that. And aside from the remaining bugs that I just mentioned earlier, those were also on 14.2 and 14.2.1. The experience overall in terms of performance is going to be better here on 14.3, at least for the iPhone 12 series. I also tested this on my iPhone 11 and also on the iPhone XR. So it seems like all the way across the board, I noticed a performance improvement here with 14.3. Now, as far as battery life goes, this is one area where I have to say I have not noticed any difference from 14.2 or 14.2.1. So I have good battery life, don't get me wrong. I still last pretty much all day on the iPhone 12 Pro here, but I have not noticed really any kind of difference from 14.2 or 14.2.1. It feels about the same to me. But if we go into my battery, you'll see the type of battery life I'm getting here, or just the amount that I'm using my phone, I should say. So obviously I'm using it quite a bit, and over the last 8 days, you can see there, that is what my charts are looking like. That's what my battery usage is looking like the applications I use the most and things like that. Doesn't really tell you everything, and especially since I've been charging it throughout the day, you can't really get a good read. But I have been using 14.3 a lot, and of course I have been on the betas and on the RC builds, so I have had a lot of experience with 14.3, and the battery life, like I said, is not going to be a big difference from 14.2 or 14.2.1. So I would not update with the sole intention of getting better battery life unless you had battery drain issues on 14.2 or 14.2.1, because those could be caused by some sort of bug. But just overall battery, if it's fine on 14.2 or 14.2.1, don't expect it to get better with this update. And as far as connectivity goes, connectivity is fine for me. I've not had any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth drops, like my AirPods don't randomly disconnect. That happened to me in beta 1, but ever since the first beta of 14.3, I've not had any type of Bluetooth drops with any of my headphones or my car or anything like that. I've had no Wi-Fi drops or anything like that. The only thing that's kind of spotty is the cell connectivity, but this has been going on ever since I got my iPhone 12s. So yeah, 5G still drains battery, and just cell connectivity overall is rather spotty on 14.3, just like it was in 14.2 and 14.2.1, despite having a modem firmware update. So now with all that being said, should you update to iOS or iPadOS 14.3? And I say yes, absolutely, especially if you're on the iPhone 12 Pro or the iPhone 12 Pro Max, so you get access to the new ProRAW format. But even if you're not on a 12 Pro or a 12 Pro Max, you're gonna have all of those new features that I mentioned earlier. You're gonna see a noticeable performance improvement. You also have security fixes on the back end. You're gonna have support for things like AirPods Max. Even if you're not gonna get those, you'll at least have it. Just a lot of reasons to update to 14.3. There's really no downside unless you've just had an absolutely perfect experience on 14.2 or 14.2.1 and nothing in this update interests you. If that's the case, then yeah, just stay where you're at. But if that's not the case, then I would just go ahead and update to 14.3 because it has been solid for me so far on all devices. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That is my review on iOS and iPadOS 14.3. As far as iPadOS, everything is the same over there. I didn't mention that, just now realized I didn't mention that at all in this video, but nothing is different on iPadOS versus iOS. Everything's going to carry over to iPadOS 14.3. But anyways, guys, yeah, that is my video on iOS and iPadOS 14.3. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe because I will be doing a follow-up update to iOS 14.3 to make sure everything's still running fine next week. And of course, I will be covering the AirPods Max very soon as well. So definitely stay tuned for all of the good coverage coming soon to the channel. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.